Colorado. Today's edition of my LinkedIn Live is really focused on fear and how it can motivate you and how it could really negatively impact your LinkedIn opportunity. You know, what I find typically is there's not enough activity. Too many people tend to maybe focus on, having the best content, really not being satisfied, feeling really inhibited by posting it because they're afraid of what people may think or what they may do or not do. And, no one gives you a rule book when you enter LinkedIn. You kind of take with you from where you've been and what you assume works somewhere you've never been. And typically that's an ask, a take, a buy attitude because, you're in the marketplace and you think it's like the outside world where you go to Starbucks or Panera's and you got to justify the time, the travel, and the expense in order to get a result that day, or it doesn't make sense. LinkedIn is a far longer game. And on LinkedIn, there's so many people saying things, doing things, and it's hard to differentiate and distinguish the real players from the make-believe. And the best way to do that is through experience, really building trust and confidence and people having likability. People like doing business with people they like. And it's those people who understand that can deliver service, value, opportunity, knowing that it's going to build the trust and confidence from a lot of people who maybe don't have a lot of trust and confidence themselves. And based on that, the more you're visible, the more you're accessible, the more popular you will be, the more attractive you will be, and ultimately things will gravitate to you. You just have to be ready. So with that said, what fears are holding people back? A lot of times it's they're not good enough. They want to wait until they can get better. There's always an excuse. There's always tomorrow. But realistically, tomorrow never comes. All you really have is today. And how do you show up? Are you bringing the best of you to LinkedIn? When you comment, do you give it a little time to think? Maybe to add a line that shows you really read or listened or watched what that individual put out. And, the strategy to maybe alleviate some of the concern with putting product out there like content is really being a commenter yourself, supporting the people you want to do business with or you want to get to know. And what I've done, along with my partner, Mike Weiss, who's also involved with this new LinkTank mastermind group, which I have in caption below, and you're more than welcome to go to the URL and really see the details. I mean, I don't want to give you all the information and share this as a promotional opportunity, but it's an incredible offer for access to me and Mike, a lot of Mike's trainings that are really, really worthwhile, and an hour a week of me and Mike, and it's only $47 with a money back guarantee. So we made it so there is no fear of loss. There is no fear of, not being good enough. The only fear is to get outside of your own way that one needs to do. And, getting back to the primary subject here is, how much are you doing on LinkedIn and why aren't you doing more? And in most cases, what I found is there's really 4 ways to approach LinkedIn. One is what's typically the majority, which is people go in on their own and fumble, and maybe they figure it out, but it takes a long time. The results are mediocre and it's very frustrating. The next step is going to somebody who will create a done for you opportunity where you kind of set it, forget it. You get a lot of visibility, top of mind awareness, but it's not really you the uniqueness, the genuineness doesn't come through. The third way is done with you, where you take the best of what you have and merge it with someone who's already got complementary benefit that could add value to what you do and vice versa. And now you've got collaboration. And then the next key is really taking it to distribution. There's so many people who, when they don't get a lot of response, like likes and comments, they typically feel the post has been a failure. If you measure it quantitatively, maybe, but would you rather get 1,000 comments from irrelevant people who you will never want or be able to do business with? Or would you just like to get 2 comments from 2 of the most ideal client profile individuals you can find? And what you find then is it's sorted for you. Why don't you just get the end product? And most cases are so insecure that they feel they have to appeal to everybody. They come from a place of scarcity, where if not everybody likes them, or you also find the people that fear rejection, criticism. I used to have a very significant retail and ultimately e-tail business. And it was interesting that 100 customers would come in the store a day. 90 plus would be happy, 9 would be like, no big deal. And there'd always be, not always, but there'd be one person who created some sort of chaos in the store environment, refund, something like that, whatever it was, small stuff. Everybody in the store only remembered that one person, not the 90. And I think that's really something that needs to be adjusted, is one's perspective, one's context. What is failure or success on LinkedIn? My philosophy has always been either you learn or you earn. You never lose. And the only time you lose is when you quit. And you have no choice at that point but to add up the score. So, fear is something that's between you and yourself. And once you can overcome it, well, you're into a much faster lane, a happier lane. And the question is, how does that work? And the answer is a mastermind, a collaboration. Make up your own if you want. Doesn't matter. It's a lonely, long game. And eventually people take themselves out because they become their worst enemy. They bully themselves more than anybody could possibly want to bully them. And by having a workout buddy or a workout team, it puts it in perspective, and, you're having fun. You're with people. You're doing stuff. More importantly, the knowledge share is incredible. That's why I'm starting this group with Mike Weiss, is because if you don't know it, the majority of people on LinkedIn do nothing on LinkedIn. They hardly even watch. They just put up a billboard, walk away, hope somebody sees them and does something for them. Happens once in a while, but while you're waiting, why not be the few on the field who are doing? And waiting to get ready doesn't make sense, because you're never going to be ready. It's always going to be something. They say start before you're ready, because you have no choice but to catch up. And what I'm encouraging, and I think half of the mastermind group, is really support, is a sounding board, is a reference. Plus, it's always easier to see what other people are doing and knowing that they're no different or better than you, and you could do it too. LinkedIn doesn't discriminate, right? And it's not time-based, it's action-based, which means that you can post once a day for 5 days, or you can post 5 times in one day. You're going to get your response. LinkedIn gives you a report card within hours of you posting something. And if you like the score, keep doing it. If you don't, use the feedback you get from it to adjust to it. Your only responsibility is pushing the ball out on the field. Once someone kicks it, the game's on. So your goal is to continue to build more relevant interaction and know where you're going. I just initiated a program called the Game Plan program, and it's on my website, doncohenconsulting.com. Please visit it. Could change your life. I believe it will. Uh, and what I see is so many people start with no knowledge. They build on it. Eventually, they create this concoction of a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it really needs to be reviewed and identified as how much of this is legacy that made no sense, but you didn't know any better, but you continued to keep it inside. And then the bigger question is LinkedIn is not an expensive opportunity, but it's a very time consuming opportunity. You have to be able to really measure the return on your investment on time, and also see, what are you doing it for? Do you have an ultimate goal? Are you trying to have something that you can ultimately measure against? There is a saying that says it's hard to manage what you can't measure. And if you have clear goals set out, then there's no fooling anybody. At the end of the time period, you say, did I reach it? Again, if not, there's an offset to knowledge that is really additional activity. And if the more you do, the more you learn, and you can almost fail your way to the top. There is a gentleman, Tom Watson, who founded IBM. And he said, if you want to get really successful, double your rate of failure. And on LinkedIn, it gives you so much room to grow, to play, to fail. And you know what? Who knows what failure is? I've never seen a post or a person on LinkedIn, and I looked at something, I got surprised and angry and said they failed. They put out this stuff. Most people don't even see the good stuff, let alone the bad stuff. And most people don't want to see the bad stuff. And there is no bad stuff. It's your stuff, right? The key is using LinkedIn as a communication platform that you can be yourself, that you can do what I'm doing right now. Grab the microphone every day, say what you're thinking, reach out to the people you want to hear what you're thinking, because there's only two things you can offer on LinkedIn. It's your content and your distribution of your content. So why aren't more people doing it? Again, fear. The takeaway today is really ask yourself, call it a fear, call it an obstacle, a challenge. It doesn't matter. It's all semantics. Is what are the 2 or 3 things you give yourself as an excuse to not do what you know you could do or you should do? And are you the person that's proactive or reactive? You can be both. One thing I learned about LinkedIn, it's not an either or opportunity. It's an either and opportunity. You do what you do, and when you get better, you do more. Right now, I'm doing a LinkedIn Live every day. I'm doing 2 LinkedIn Live podcasts with LinkTank and Mike Weiss. I'm doing a newsletter I started 2 weeks ago. I have 7,000 subscribers. I've got 38,000 connections in a year and a half. I posted every day for 1,000 days. I've done polls every day. I've done a post for the last 8 months. I just keep layering on. And the idea is be everywhere to everybody from a visibility standpoint. Don't be everywhere to everybody from a attraction standpoint. What you need is what you want. And ultimately, you're going to end up with what you deserve. So my motivation for you today is to think more of yourself, be a better best friend, worry less, laugh more. And if you don't know how to do it or you don't know how to put it together, go to that URL, check out what the program is, and you'll automatically pick up 2 wonderful individuals who have been there, done that, and are making huge strides. Me and Mike Weiss. There's a saying or a philosophy that you're the factor of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who do you spend the most time with on LinkedIn? Well, this is a chance to really upgrade, disassociate from the people aren't working or doing or caring, to the people who are on the front line really making it happen, sharing product now, not product knowledge, but knowledge share. And, I'm so excited. That's why I'm doing it. I can't wait to get the majority of those people from the sidelines onto the field and do it with really quality best practices, integrity, respect. That's what's really lacking in most cases today. And people who are not small potatoes, right? I mean, they don't major in the minors, so, I want to leave you with, the motivation to get beyond fear. The way to get beyond fear is to approach it, is to take control over it. And the more you go with your motivation to overcome fear, the less fear will be there. And eventually it'll be replaced by hope. And now you're in the fast lane for sure. So anyways, have a wonderful afternoon. Great talking to you. This is just one of many. Look forward to the next one. And bye for now.